Yeah, Maria and Ed, a lot of this, of course, depends on the weather, and last winter was exceptionally cold, but rates play a hugely important role here, and despite all the promises made by state officials last winter, don't expect any substantial cuts to gas rates this winter. In fact, some customers will actually see their rates rise double digits again.
The grand total was $731.
For 1 month of heat.
For 1 month of heat.
Customer after customer last winter.
$335 worth of fees. And I said, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Fired up over massive gas bills, the biggest they'd ever seen.
$600, and I almost fell on the floor.
The governor promised change.
The Department of Public Utilities needs to take a look at the rates right now.
The state took some steps to trim the exploding delivery charges customers face in Massachusetts, including slashing the new Mass Save plan from $5 billion to $4.5 billion. That means customers will pay less on their bills toward Mass Save than last winter, but we found it will not be enough to cut bills overall. There are two main gas companies in Greater Boston, National Grid and Eversource. National Grid is proposing a slight reduction in delivery rates, 8 or 9%, depending on a customer's service territory. But the price of gas is increasing. It's up about 13% from last year, which will make National Grid gas bills about the same big cost overall. The news is worse for Eversource customers, the company planning to hike delivery charges by 12%. Combined with a surge in the cost of gas, Eversource bills could be at least 13% more expensive. That's well beyond the rate of inflation. So how does the company justify that?
It's part of what we have to do every day. There's no disputing the fact that bills have increased, and they've increased in a sizable way.
Eversource Senior Vice President Doug Horton agreed to sit down with us, which is more than anybody else would do. National Grid refused our interview request. So did the DPU, the state regulators who approve rates, and even Attorney General Andrea Campbell, whose job is to advocate for utility customers. How much of the delivery side of the bill and this increase is driven by profit for Eversource?
In terms of a total bill, first and foremost to your question, our return or earnings is about 9% of a customer's bill. And the
9% total or 9% on the delivery side?
It's 9% of a total bill.
On Eversource bills, the amount customers pay toward Mass Save will drop 3% for customers of the old Columbia Gas and 27% for Eversource N-Star customers. But other parts of the bill are rising, including the amount the company spends on gas pipes. If the state's stated goal is to get rid of natural gas as an energy source, at least to homes in the next 20 or 25 years, does it make sense to be spending billions of dollars to replace gas pipes?
It's a matter of hot debate because certainly that is a perspective, but the reality is that this infrastructure is in place today, serving customers today.
The second largest state fee on gas bills is a program where utility companies replace leak-prone pipes and can profit on that work. Has the state done enough to scale back the added fees on customers' bills?
You know, that's a difficult question to answer. I think that, like with all components of our bill, there are costs and there are benefits. And these energy efficiency programs are designed to deliver benefits, but they don't come for free.
Customers will see redesigned bills this winter to break down exactly how much they're paying towards state programs like Mass Save. Eversource is trying to bring more gas into New England, buying almost half the new supply coming from the expansion of New England's main pipeline. But that's several years out. Cold comfort to customers as bills keep rising. So it's important to point out these are just proposed rates right now. They still must be approved by the State Department of Public Utilities. That process will play out over the next several weeks. We'll keep you updated. If you've got a consumer story for me, send me an email. The address is ben@wcvb.com.